Alright. Let me go ahead and get my thing up and running. Welcome. And that's me, right, course. Just kidding. It's just my little gaming thing I put on and get on my fake face cam on. Okay, so if you're probably wondering what I've been doing or what's been going on, I'm basically doing a review of what I just recently watched. Was what's called Godzilla versus King, or call it Kong, the movie. You can watch it on HBO Max or it can go into the theater. But since my area in California has the theaters, most of them closed, and I'm really far to the expensive ones, so I probably just watched it on HBO Max since it's more safer. So that's where you can probably watch this film if you're like a fan of MonsterVerse movies where monsters go ahead with another monster. It's pretty exciting. So let me go ahead and just get started with this character that I'm playing. So this is a talking discussion live, and this is a free play gaming, which I'm basically just playing random games. Could be same games, whatever games I want. This one I just chose Fortnite, just so I can able to talk while you guys are enjoying some gameplay. Now, those of you who are watched the film or haven't, be warned that this is a review with spoilers. So if you haven't watched Godzilla versus Kong, don't get out of this video right now and go to HBO Max or to the theater and watch the film, because I will be talking spoilers on this. So what I just watched was hugely, let me tell you, really amazing. This thing was big. It was all right, like crazy. And I don't, for some reason my thing was getting weird on me on the video. Let me check this out. Okay, that was weird. I'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, this film was really like it. The monster fights were cool, and it made sense of why we thought from the trailers that Godzilla was attacking these areas, that like all of a sudden he's destroying things from humanity. No, there was something behind that, and I'll explain that later on during this review. So my review so far for this is, this is again one of the really better than the previous one that we watched, was the King of Monsters, because it didn't focus on so much of that lore with the characters. You had more focus on the monsters, which is really cool. So I was able to experience more monster fights with this film. It makes sense where it was leading to, and I knew exactly. Though the only problem that I have with this film was everything felt rushed, and I think they still need to get quotes from the people in the Japan side, who these Japanese knew how to make the MonsterVerse. Which, if they would have got training or call like help from them, I think they would have done a little bit better with finding the aspects of how to balance between characters and monsters. But so far this film did a good job, and it made it really fantastic, where I was satisfied with the results that I saw. Though we still have the people are still begging for more monster fights. I'm not really like into that much begging, so I'll just let it be. Though it's up to them, if they feel like they want to see more, they actually can. But this whole thing that I've just seen and witnessed, it was really crazy. I was like indeed shocked at what I was like looking into, because the whole situation with the monster fights and the character conflicts, there was less. This one's opposite. With the other one, it was more with the characters than the monsters. This one's more with the monsters than the characters. So if they were to do some sort of balance and learn from how Japanese did it, they would have actually did it right, which would have made perfect sense of what was really going on. Though there wasn't a lot of like evacuations, because during the fight with Kong and Godzilla in the city, you had them like fight with a bunch of cars still driving around, so that looked bad. I'm like, there's a freaking large monster right there. As anyone thinks second to evacuate, for crying out loud, you're gonna get smashed or pound on, or building collapse on top of you, and you're all just driving around like if it's a normal day. What the heck is going on there? I think those civilians are idiots or something. I would evacuate a long time ago and got out of there because I knew there's gonna be a big, showdown where the whole city destruction happened. Because right now, so far, the destruction that Khan, Godzilla, and the new character, which is Mega G, came through and did all this destruction in the city. It probably curious how many people died in it when they're like looking at this fighting. I mean, if they're that idiots, I would not stay there. That's all I'll say. I would continue moving through because I knew off the bat you can get killed easily. There's no way on earth you'll survive with that kind of thing going on. But that's the film. That's not really my opinion. I can say this. During the film, there were in the beginning side, it kind of understand what was going on. It kind of tried to make a new plot and twist why Godzilla was destroying, where Apex, the company, was, doing all this like stuff of secret projects, and one of their secret projects was basically building parts of a machine. So it kind of makes sense why Godzilla was destroying. Again, the Apex company was doing something very bad where you can tell off the bat it was like leading to war with this creature. And I knew off the bat that why in the world would you decide to, hey, this is a great idea to start building our own monster and do all this cool stuff with it and replace, this thing so we don't have to worry. Be honest, that is the most terrible idea, because even though they were able to control this monster, the problem is they could not this we call it substantially hold its power. That was the problem. Because at first I thought, okay, it probably did like a real replacement where it's like they did like a skin over, this machine, similar like the Terminator, where the machine's underneath the skin. That's what I thought at first, but it turns out that wasn't the case at all. That Godzilla was just destroying anything that led to a weird signal that this glowing red eye was creating. That was from Mega G. And basically, every time when that signal came on, it just called in immediately the creature, Godzilla, to approach that. Now, how does Khan get involved in this? Well, Khan is doing his own thing. They basically captured him by this point, so there's no reason for him to realize where he's basically at. And when he was captured, they put him in this like cube, in the I don't know, some sort of weird cube, and they have this little girl, which she's basically Khan's friend, and what she does is sweet stuff to try to communicate with the Khan gorilla creature. Basically, he already knows that he's in this situation where he can't break free, and basically like in a human cage, in other words. So it's like he already knows what's really going on, so that's why it's making him pissed that he doesn't like being in the cage. Animals do get like that when they're in the cage for a very long time, thinking they're in the make believe. So that's basically what happened, and that's what led to Khan getting pissed. Though he doesn't break like crazy, where to the point where he wants to break free. He ends up like wanting to just basically observe the whole area. What the hell's going on? He wants to observe the whole entire area just to know what really like where he's at. Oh man, I got killed. So it doesn't take him a while until he realizes that, and so he is getting impatient. So they're trying to figure out what can they do in the meantime, since if he does go out there, Godzilla probably knows that he's alive. He's searching for him, something like that. The good news is that Khan doesn't die in this film. That's all I'm letting you know, that he doesn't die. Thank goodness. Those who think that it's gonna be a brutal like death, no, he doesn't die in this film. Neither is Godzilla. But it also turns out that Apex themselves were building this creature that pissing off Godzilla because he doesn't like just being replaced. But knowing that they're needed to find this energy sword, which it was a terrible idea. They didn't even run some tests to make sure that it's all saved, like idiots. They do get it back, like really like a huge backlash at the end for doing something like that, for not testing and making sure everything's all safe, because the moment they use that energy source, all things go what's called apparently wrong for them, and it's all like all out like betrayal to themselves. And not only that, for like the most dumbest thing you could do, similar to like Ultron from Avengers Age of Ultron, where the Tony thought that this was a great idea, ends up being an artificial intelligence and doing its own crazy like domestic mind of its own to do harm humanity in different similar ways. So that's exactly what happened when they used that energy source. And how they did that? Well, basically they needed an escort to find this source, and that's basically they needed the gorilla, since gorilla know this place by heart. So that's where it came to the gorilla's attention with the little I say the main side characters, which they used the a brilliant scientist, I forgot his name. I think was the name of I think this guy. I don't know if it's which scientist, because there's so many scientists here. Oh yeah, Doctor. I think Doctor Lin. He basically was upset that the fact that his brother was killed in the past, and really explained really well with that. But they give him an offer to have some sort of convincing to the ones they're holding con, so they can help find this energy source. And that's what they led to this expedition, which expedition, by the way, going to that universe inside like something behind upside down world of Earth. That thing was crazy. But I probably explained why those expedition team always were never able to come back, because there is other monsters in there that were destroying them, which were these like flying beasts. You see them in the trailer too, what they look like, and that's what's cool about the expedition, that there's other lives that we haven't seen before, and actually get to look at that is pretty neat. But I think the most like neat thing that I probably witnessed is that gravity thing, where gravity's all like weird, like it just ends up being like Stranger Things, similar with Gravity movie, where it's like everything starts moving upside down, floating. It was insane. Just having Khan just do that whole like space thing, it was like it acted like that film Doctor Strange, where the reality was just all of a sudden becoming extraordinarily weird and everything was collapsing. That's what it felt like, only with just going upside down. It was insane. I thought that part was like cool. But rather than that, that's where Khan finds a tomb, which this tomb led to an axe. It was insane, where this axe like had like abilities to shoot and take down like anyone nearby with the power, but yet this power that the axe hold needed to recharge. So the good news was that with the help of not just the people around the Khan, but he was able to find a place where the energy source will glow, and that's where it had like this crazy room like thing going around and glowing the whole entire place of the tomb, which was pretty neat. Though I already knew it was expected when that this part was gonna come, where simple betrayal was happening. But I think it was during their escort, when they're trying to take them through ship, they were trying to be away from the waters where Godzilla usually went by, and basically that ended up failing off the bat. Godzilla still ended up finding them. They have a whole like monster fight. Thank goodness that in the first round with that, he ends up realizing that he can't defeat Godzilla, since he's always good with able to breathe underwater and he can't. So he was able to find where exactly this creature went through, and that's what led to. Even though Khan did get help from the Marines and the battleships around him, it wasn't enough to take down Godzilla, and he ends up still having to take almost killing Khan. But if it wasn't for the Marines, Khan would have died easily because the underwater he can't breathe, and supposedly the other ones he can in land, and Godzilla can. So there's really no match there. However, they were able to still save Khan's life, and the creature, they had to make it look like he was like, how you say this? He was basically like, what's the right word to say this? Make it look like he died or when defeated. Off the bat, they weren't defeated. They just had to make it look like Godzilla won this. So that still the point goes to the Godzilla because it was the water and that was his advantage since Khan can't breathe in that. So there's really no win-win there. I knew that off the bat. It looks like in second place. But it turns out that they had to airlift him, which, by the way, at this point, I was like, there's no way a couple of choppers could do something like that. There is just no way. I knew off the bat that was impossible just to carry that much weight on a large creature. No way. That was impossible. That right there, they kind of messed it up. And I knew off the bat that didn't look right. It didn't. But I still, since it's a film, just go with it and do what you can with it. But I still, like, I wasn't convinced that a couple of choppers can carry that large creature. It's just, I knew off the bat it was impossible for that to happen. It was. Now, depending on the situation what I saw from where they took him to the outpost and lead him to the inside, the signal comes back when these main characters, the name of the characters like Madison, and then the other one was, his name was like Bernie Harris, and then they also came with another character which was like, what's his name? It's like the other kid. I forgot his name, but oh yeah, Josh. The three themselves went inside the this large chamber because they were sneakily going into Apex facilities to find out answers of what's really going on behind the Godzilla attacks. It turns out that it led them to this big chamber that would realize that when seeing this chamber, it had like this weird, like, what's the right call it, the mystical place that ends up revealing the large Mega G, which, by the way, his new design looks really crazy than the ones that I currently saw from the old films. This thing looked like massive, big, full of metal, and looked like it's ready to plunge in anything it comes across to. So when I saw this, I knew off the bat, oh my goodness, how in the world did the Apex do this? But they had the technology and they were able to create it, so I wouldn't blame them. But as soon as the like one of the old creatures from Skull Island came through and almost attacked those three characters, immediately Mega G just grabbed that thing and shredded it to pieces with its own lasers. It was insane. But the problem was, again, doesn't have the power of the Earth yet, that weird energy, so that thing ended up losing power instantly fast because all that, thing it was using just did not do a good job of holding that long. So off the bat, yeah, that's what their only problem was, is they didn't have enough energy to continue, using this monster to fight. And every time it shuts down, it creates a signal that led to Godzilla, looking for whatever that signal is coming across. So it made sense why it was attacking in the first place. I guess signals really do make a large enough to get its attention to the creature. So with the signal that happened for the second time ends up giving its up location, and that ends up having Godzilla, getting angry, and because far away he can hear that, and he ends up going where it usually was located, which was Hong Kong. That's basically the area where both of the takes place of the fight. So he ends up going to the area, which was pretty neat, where it led to a showdown where, yeah, after he opens up this like little crater that where Khan was like basically at the other upside down side, it ends up luring Khan over there to the Hong Kong city, and that's where they end up having this crazy showdown. It was pretty awesome. But I gotta still say props for this. Sorry, Khan, but Godzilla still ended up taking the second round since he's was more superior, and I saw how the battle. I do give Khan credit. If he had the axe, he may have higher chances of taking down Godzilla. But without it, there's just no way. I mean, what I saw, even though he can use the fist to hit Godzilla, Godzilla still had the lasers. He still was able to find a different approach to overcome Khan's attacks, and that's what led to his failure to able to realize that Godzilla still had like the brutal force, the laser force, because he was trying his best to put something down his throat, but it didn't work. Even though the axe did give him a higher advantage, he stopped using it, and that's where Khan realized he was effed. I mean, Godzilla had the higher advantage without it. And that's in my opinion, it still goes to Godzilla, and he ends up still winning this battle round over for the second time, and that's what he realizes. Yeah, the Khan cannot take down this dude. He's too strong, and he's still like the king of monsters. Where Khan himself used to be a king, where he still is a king, but he's placed at second because he's no way can take down this creature, since he knows how to. He's been in fighting with monsters for his whole, I guess, for since with after the King Ghidorah event, and the other creature, I forgot his name. Godzilla knows fighting experience, so if you know fighting experience, you're gonna know how to basically realize where to hit and where to attack your monster opponent. Where King Khan himself, or called Khan, he only had his early age, that fighting experience. That's about it. After that, he just ends up just roaming around for his centuries, not knowing. Now, if there was more during his young Khan age, I will be happy to see what kind of monster he faced. But rather than that, he doesn't have that much experience, and that's the reason why this point has still went to Godzilla for that kind of thing I was talking about. So overview, after their basic fight, Mega G comes out from his hiding after when they inject like this magical, how you say this unknown energy source from the earth, and they didn't even test it, which was really something that you shouldn't do. And this is what happens when you mess with things that they're really not explained, that this ends up happening and causing an artificial intelligence to control itself and have its mind of its own. So that's exactly what happened with the Mega G, and ends up taking down those two who thought, oh yeah, this is gonna be really fantastic. It ends up firing back at them, and that's when they realize, yeah, there's no way that they can control this. And there's also there's this also another character, which was the daughter of this Walter guy, and let me tell you, by the looks of it, she was so pathetic. I mean, the way that she attacked Khan was so like ridiculous. She didn't even try to like do a secretly escape. She just ended up attacking, and off the bat that led to her death, with all the rest of them, which was never attack a creature after they saw you did something wrong, because you know off the bat that you're just gonna end up putting yourself as a death wish to them. It was the most hilarious, dumbest thing you could do, and off the bat, it just made you look dumb for even doing that in the first place. Off the bat, like, what is this person thinking? Like, you're just causing their death wish on you immediately. God damn, they already killed me. But yeah, after that dumb event that she did, realizing they'll actually think that it was gonna be clever for this idea to come. Those two end up having it as the same as same as the daughter, and they end up getting killed, knowing that they thought that this was gonna work, and it turns out it was just a trap for them. That realized, their own creation turned on them and ends up, taking them down and killing them both. That's what happens, when you go with something wrong, you end up making flawless returns or something that looks completely bad, and that's what ends up happening. It gets a backfiring on you. So that those who think that you can build creations some with the unknown energy source, think twice and do some testings before making that assumption, because you end up making something that you totally did not know and it ends up backfiring on you. So that's exactly what ends up happening. Now, to be honest, when I was like watching the film, everything that was being rushed, it felt slightly off. Not the monster, but mostly the characters. That's why when it comes to balancing, they could have done a better job. Where when balancing these characters, we could explain a little bit more what was going on, what was happening. But by far, it still had like ups and downs, and though I still was expecting a little bit more, it's like in my mind, it's like I want more fights. I want more fights, because we had like two fight scenes with the Khan and Godzilla, but we wish we had more fights with Mega G when he showed up. That's what I think were kind of messed up there. They could have done a better job with just having the fight scenes with Mega G a little bit more. Because again, it started off, with Godzilla and Mega G fighting by themselves, but when he was in trouble basically and he needed help, that's when the other guy Khan comes into play and helps helps out Godzilla, thanks to the little girl telling him, Khan, to, hey, Godzilla's not the enemy, this creature is. And he was convinced, all right, then I'm gonna go help this guy. And that's what he ends up doing. He ends up helping him. Now, to be honest, it still felt rushed. I wanted more of the Mega G. They could have done like a little bit longer, and that's where I think they kind of messed up. But rather than that, I was still convinced that this film did a good job with both of them taking head on. Though, even though Godzilla was able to defeat Khan, when it came to Mega G, he was over. He surpassed immediately to this character. There's like, you can tell off the bat that he surpassed it to the point where it's like Godzilla was not able to defeat this character. But when Khan came in with the axe, and thanks to Godzilla's, powering that axe, since the laser could power that axe, he was able to use that axe against Mega G, and that's how they end up defeating the robot creature from being, this crazy, like, out of control destructive power. So thanks to, that he was able to show, Khan was able to show that Godzilla, that, even though you don't have the burning powers, because that was still, it would have been a higher advantage than the machine that the thing was doing. Khan was still able to find this, like, how you say this, to find this axe that he's been using and use it to his advantage to take down. And the point for the Mega G fight goes to Khan, because he was able to defeat Godzilla's opponent, and he used it with just a simple tool. He didn't have to use it like the way that how you say this, that Godzilla was using, because he tried his laser, but since Mega G had a little more high efficiency, since the machine has like something like, if you watch Captain America versus the Winter Soldier from the film, you'll tell that if you have something machine, it's more capable of going extremely all out, like, how you say this, extreme all out, like instantaneously from an organ to a machine. It just completely, like, can do speeds 10 times fast than a normal living tissue. In other words, it's really like something you just don't want to mess with when it's something that's has powers beyond your understanding. So it's like off the bat that was the advantage that it used when it was facing Godzilla immediately. And that's when I saw from my own perspective that yeah, this machine has higher advantage of that. Though Khan, thanks to his curiosity, he was able to find different ways to, what's the right word to say this? He was able to find different ways to take down the opponent, and that's what led to, what's the right word to say this? It led to his even though the machine was powerful, he was able to find a way to defeat with an object that came from the same source, and that was his advantage to take down this creature Mega G, and that's that's what led to Khan still taking the victory over that. Because it was, I think this scenario, I gotta say, it was both conflicts between the Godzilla and Khan. So this is like two. This Mega G was a both a scenario conflict where he can't face this alone. There's no way. And it sucks that the Mothia is dead. If you've seen the previous film, Mothia, the butterfly, the giant butterfly, is dead. That sucks, but at least they have Khan is there to support him. So that was relief for that. And then by the end, they still were close to having another showdown, but it turns out that he still gave him respects, and he still, at the end of the day, still saying that if you still want to face me to think you're the king and do all that, you're still welcome to, and I'll still face you off. But since the fact that they were both exhausted, tired after facing the machine, they all call it quits, and he ends up just walking away. Why Khan's just staying there, realizing that I can't defeat this creature. He's over superior to me, even though I did face his opponent. So that's how it basically ended. And I was, at the end of the day, after watching the entire film, I was basically satisfied with every result, and it still gave me the punishing blow that yeah, he ends up showing that even though you're a machine or whatever you call it, or even though you're the king of monsters, Khan was still not able to defeat him, and he still realized that even I'm stuck at being second, and I'm still gonna have to do my ways and finding new methods to find peace for myself. And this film, with the whole situation with the characters, were still weak. They didn't show enough screen time for them, mostly towards the monsters, which I would prefer a balance between that. But rather than that, yes, my final rating I'm gonna give this film is 8 out of 10, best experience, which means it's a must watch. I I do recommend it, and it still was entertaining enough to inspire the whole thing. Inspire what if you're into fights and MonsterVerse. This is your film. You're probably gonna enjoy, and if you probably haven't seen the previous ones, or you did, you probably should watch those before watching this one, because those lead up to this final showdown between the two main characters that we beloved known from centuries, and always wanted them to go head on together to see what it would look like if they versed each other, which the amazing large gorilla and the icon creature we know, the large lizard, and have them face on together. This is it. This is the movie you're probably wanting to actually see. And so at the end of the day, looking at this, I was realizing, yeah, they actually did it. So that's gonna be I say this. I probably that's gonna be it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I was really curious. If you have any comments, you can say to me right now. While I wrap this up, I'll give like probably the next 2 minutes to one. If you have anything else to say about if you watched the film, by far this is still really good monster fight film. It's better than the previous one, I can tell you that, with King Ghidorah. Even though King Ghidorah is still a cool monster, this film still had more of the fights, and they did actually listen to the fans for once and focus more on the monster fights than the characters, because that's what they had a problem with, where they were focusing too much on the characters. Though they still wouldn't be able to beat the Japanese version because Japanese were able to balance both. We're focusing on the characters and the monsters, and they were really long films. To be honest, they were more than 3 hours, but they did a good job to focus on both, and that's what satisfied me because I watched them in the past when I was like barely like a kid. I was into these type of stuff, and I was just nonstop watching all these Godzilla films, all this crazy like all these the mystical monsters who I beloved known, and it was really cool to actually have my childhood come back again with even better CGI, fixing these monsters and making them more realistic. So I was really pleased with that. But yeah, this film did a good job. If you have HBO Max or you bought your tickets, you could probably see it, or you probably watch it again. But that's all gonna be saying. Hope you guys like this talking discussion live review of Godzilla versus Kong. And as always, we'll see you on the next Orlock 425 from, of course, on another talking discussion or anything else coming along the way from the original series of Orlock 425. Alright, so that's all I'm gonna say for this, and hope there's more yet to come. Though I'm still taking a while since my summertime is not here yet. So if you're curious of when my live plays or let's plays will come back, they will be coming out shortly. I am getting everything prepared. But until then, I'm still gonna be focusing on my semester with my own, studies in college, and I'm still gonna be doing my own thing in time when I'm just focusing on other stuff. But again, you're welcome to rewatch these videos. You're welcome to look at anything else in there, and hopefully I can put cool content of music videos. I can't put cutscenes. I already retired of that. If I put any cutscenes, I'll get in trouble. So just to know, you to be clear that I still don't want to put cutscenes because they're making it more stricter. Since I seen the new ones they put out, they're getting more and more stricter with now times. But my scenes will continue to thrive through my Orlock 425. These videos will continue, and now since my monetization's back on, I'm gonna be getting paid to do my own content, and since they're keeping an eye on me. I'm making sure that the monetization only lies with my own videos and not those that are not mine, because they want to make sure to make it clear with the rules that everything is completely fine. But I end up making it and making it through with all this stuff, and I was passionate to give you more and more stuff in this time of making content on the Orlock 425. So if you haven't already followed me on other sites, you're welcome to check that out because I do put stuff on there. I'm not always on my channel. And during my semester time, you're gonna hardly see me on my channel, only sometimes, but mostly on my social media or other platforms. So that's about it. Thank you so much, and bye bye.